Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. This is Pastor Bruce. Welcome to amvoice.net and One Man's Voice. Today I want to talk to you about globalism. What is globalism, by the way, since you don't know? Globalism is defined as a national geopolitical policy in which the entire world is regarded as the appropriate sphere for a state's influence. The development, second definition, is development of social, cultural, and technical or economic networks that transcend national borders, globalization. Now, what does that mean? What does that mean? In America, we have the foundation of our country is based on Christianity, God the Father, and the teachings of Jesus and the Ten Commandments. So we are a Judeo-Christian nation. That's how we were raised. And we developed laws to protect our rights, freedom of religion, freedom of speech. And when we became a nation, we opened our borders to any religion that was being persecuted for their belief. And people of religious faith came to this country so they could practice their religion freely. And family was the key. Family was the important part. If you don't know, I think it was the Sullivan family during World War II that there were 5 brothers, and they were all killed during World War II. So what did our government do? It said from here on out, if there's one son, or if the last of the sons is still at home, he can't join the military because the family is more important than fighting battles. Imagine losing all 5 of your sons in one war. So this way it protected families so the family names could grow. So we cared about family. We don't care about family anymore, thanks to the feminists, thanks to the liberals out in California. Family means nothing. It's all individualism. And again, I bring it up, if you study the Bolshevik Revolution from 1917 to 1925, you'll see that what they did in that country was created a country of individual society. I, and they're doing it here. Not only are they doing it here, but thanks to the ACLU since 1963, and actually before that, but 63 is when it really became prominent, they've been fighting Christianity in this country. 63, they took prayer out of school. Throughout the years, they have fought in court to remove the nativity scenes from town squares, to taking down the 10 Commandments off of walls in government buildings. Even though that is the founding belief of this country, they didn't care, because you have to destroy the faith of the nation in order to destroy the nation. Christianity is far too strong in this country. So what do? How do you do it? How do you get around destroying a country without destroying its religion? Well, first and foremost, the attack on religion is continuing. Thanks to President Donald Trump, it might have seceded a little bit, but the attacks are still there. The other thing is you got to find people to get into political positions that are going to support your belief. George Soros is a globalist. He wants a one world government where the rich rule over everybody else. And you see, when the rich get power, they can sit there and dictate to you. And you hear stories out there about companies that are becoming wealthy, how demanding they are of their employees. You'll do what you say. If you don't, you're out of here. Who cares? Because you're not going to find a job better than what you have now. So you put up with the aggravation and the BS. Those are low-income workers, by the way. They've got them. They've got them right by the oars, and saying, you'll do what we tell you to do or you leave. And that's okay. We don't mind. We'll find somebody, because there are thousands out there that want to take your place. So either you put up with the stress and the aggravation of the job, which first and foremost your fathers and your grandfathers were doing for years before you came along, and they succeeded. But in today's society, we care about your feelings. We care about making sure that you're taken care of. But corporations don't believe in that, people. Tried to tell you that years ago when you sat there and whined and cried and complained. When you get out into the real world, it doesn't work the same way it does in college, and it doesn't work the same way it does in high school. You either get out there and earn a living, or you're on your own. That's what you have to understand. Businesses don't care about your feelings. They care about the bottom line, the net profit that they're bringing in. And if you're not helping to grow that net profit, they don't want you. That's called business. And because of the way we have allowed our politicians to influence businesses over the years, especially the 8 years with Obama, where low-income jobs were growing rapidly, yes, they were growing, but then that was big business sitting there saying, I'm making more of a profit, which that profit was going overseas because they weren't going to pay 37% on the profit in taxes. So they sent it overseas. And they hired low-wage employees. Now, in some cases, people want a job. They want to work. And the only thing that's out there is low income, $7.50, $8, $9 jobs. And they're sitting there going, I ain't working for that amount of money. But then here comes an illegal that's willing to do it. So our low-income job holders are out of jobs, and the illegals take over. See, under globalism, under globalism, there's no borders. Everybody is one big happy family. But we've seen what that one big happy family does here in America. You see, our language is English. We've been English for hundreds of years. But now that the feminists and the liberals and the globalists that are embedded in those two groups and embedded into our government, such as Nancy Pelosi, Chuck Crybaby Schumer, Harry Reid was another globalist, because they were there, they're all of a sudden, hey, well, listen, we can have a dual language country. No other country's dual language. You go to Germany or France or Italy or Spain or Russia, you speak that language. If they choose to learn English so that they can help you, that's their choice. But when you go into a foreign country, the old saying, when in Rome, do as the Romans do. Learn the foreign language, but not in America. And we have citizens here, and understand the immigration laws. In order to become an American citizen, you need to learn how to read, write, and speak basic English. And we have citizens in this country who are of Spanish descent, a lot Mexicans of Spanish descent, that cannot read, cannot write, and cannot speak basic English. They only know their own language, and they refuse to learn English. So we are bending over backwards to accommodate them. But they're citizens of the United States. So we have to become a dual language country. No, we need to tell them, if you can't read, write, and speak the language, then you're not going to survive in this country. That's like taking somebody from another country that is illiterate, bringing them over here saying, all right, here's the jobs, but you can't do anything, so you either suffer or die. Learn the job or not. I mean, it's ridiculous what globalism is trying to do to our country. And globalism hasn't been something simple. It hasn't been recent. All the way back to Bush number 1. When under Bush number 1, when he got elected, he said, before he was elected, he said, read my lips, no new taxes. But he's a globalist, people. And in the globe, being a globalist and believing in globalism, the rich are the ones that control everything. And he's rich and powerful. And he's part of the Soros team, part of the Trilateral Commission here in the United States. And that was his job, to change it, to increase the inability for people to live comfortably. Well, get a job or not, okay? It doesn't matter to us. And keep the taxes high so that every penny you earn, it goes to the government so the government can redistribute it out to the rest of the world and not to its own people. I mean, come on, let's be realistic about this. You have people in this country that are sleeping in the streets, American citizens that are sleeping in the streets, that are out there panhandling for money so that they can eat, some because they just want to drink themselves to death. You have families that are living under bridges because they don't have a home to live in and they don't have a job and they're out there panhandling and stealing. And yet we take billions upon billions of dollars and we send it out to the rest of the world while our own people suffer. Under the Obama administration, under the Clinton administration, under our jobs left this country. Businesses packed up and went to other countries, redistribution of wealth. And what's happening in other countries is because of the amount that they're earning, it's lower wages than what Americans are earning. So when the companies start making a profit bigger than what they were making while in America, they want to tax them even more. So they take that money and they send it overseas. The companies are going to keep their money. Profits are vitally important. And the stockholders know it. And that's what the stockholders want. So under two administrations that are working towards globalism, the Clintons and the Obamas are destroying this country. I was in the military under Obama, and we're sitting there saying, hey, we need funding, and he wouldn't fund us. Same thing happened under Obama. They wouldn't fund under Obama. We suffered because there wasn't enough money to be able to do the things we needed to do and to train those people we needed to train. We still fly B-52s. You know what the 52 is? That's the year they were made. 1952, we're still flying those bombers. One, because back then our granddaddies, they knew, and our fathers knew how to build planes. In certain cases, our mothers knew how to build planes properly because those were good planes that they put together, and they still fly as long as you maintain them properly. But we need to modernize. We need to know that we can stand up against any foe. And that's what's happening. While President Trump is talking about funding our military, our globalist, socialist, Nancy Pelosi spends 8 hours on the House floor complaining about not supporting DACA, the Dreamers. What's more important to her? Foreigners in this country illegally getting legalized papers to be able to stay here, or funding our government to protect the borders in order for those people to stay. And she wants both, and you can't have a policy and a finance written into the same. That's one of the things that have destroyed this country, is that every time a budget comes up or every time something comes up where money's involved, Democrats and Republicans both are throwing in special programs. Yeah, I'll vote for it. You make sure I get this. I'll vote for it. You make sure I get that. So that the rich can become richer and the poor stay poor. And this has been going on since Bush won. The Clintons pushed it further. Obama pushed it even further. And now that Trump, now understand Trump here, okay? From the time before he even won the election, the people are out there in the media going, he's never going to win. He's never going to win. They're trying to brainwash the American people to believe that he shouldn't be in the office, it should be Hillary Clinton. Every news station with the exception of Fox. Excuse me. And there were some in mainstream media who go, well, there's a good chance he's going to win. And they mocked them. They laughed at him. He took, 19 people, 18 people down in the primaries to become the nominee for the Republican Party? That's powerful. And he went up against the Clinton machine. Now, the Clinton machine already had the media in their pocket. We discovered later that the Clinton machine owned the DNC. and had the DNC in their pocket. And so, in order to make sure it's Clinton and Trump in the finals, she manipulated the DNC to vote for her and against Bernie Sanders. You see, she didn't play fairly, because if she would have played fairly, she would have lost. Why? Because the American people know she did not have a message other than the fact that I'm Queen Hillary and I deserve to be the president of the United States. And why did she deserve to be president of the United States? Very simple. I was the wife of the president. I was a senator for New York. I was Secretary of State. As wife of the president, her husband apparently didn't like the sex relationship that they were having, so he had an intern give him a blowjob in the office. And then other allegations of rape, attempted rape, and sexual assault came out. He's a predator. And where was his wife when all of this was going on? Playing stupid? Oh, she knew what was going on, but she knew he was going into the White House, and while in the White House, she knew he was in control, so she shut her mouth. She was the obedient wife that the liberals and the feminists hate. She kept her mouth shut and supported this pervert she has for a husband, which goes against all feminism. And then on the way out, instead of going back to Arkansas, they moved to New York. Why? Because there was a large Democratic base in New York that if she ran for the Senate there, they would elect her. And that's exactly what happened. If she would have gone back to Arkansas, they knew who she was. They would never have put her into the Senate at all. And so in the 2 years that she was in the Senate, or the 2 terms she was in the Senate, she promised Northern New York 200,000 jobs. Not only did they not get the 200,000 jobs, but businesses from Northern New York left to third world countries to spread the wealth. And more New Yorkers fell. Look at the map during the Clinton-Trump election, and you'll see that Northern New York voted all Republican because they knew what Hillary Clinton was all about. They knew the lies that she was telling. And in her last term, well, she was more concerned about New York City and 9/11, and she did a lot for New York City, but did nothing for the rest of the state. Why? Because the rest of the state is Republican, and New York City was Democrat. So she's going to support her Democrats, not the Republicans. See, she wasn't there for all of the people of the state. She was only there for the Democrats. And she did that for 2 terms. And then she decided to run for president. And in running for president, she went up against Obama. And in running against Obama, she had the money, she had the influence, and she had the power. But guess what? Obama started to pick up speed. Obama started to get ahead. And in order to save face and to say she didn't lose the presidential bid, she resigned from the race and gave it to Obama, with probably the assurance that she would become Secretary of State. So again, it was given to her, just like the Senate was given to her. And after bungling as Secretary of State, hitting the red button with Russia to make them more powerful and us less powerful, shows collusion. When she has a terrorist attack in Benghazi and looks the families of those dead people in the face and says, oh, it was due to a video, it insulted every single American that's out there. The American people know the truth. So when she came up to run against Trump, what happened? She couldn't. She had no message. Back when she ran against Obama, she had no message. You know what she had? She had money, influence, and power. But now against Trump, she's also, for a year to a year and a half beforehand, she's got the media on her side. And the media is attacking him. She's attacking him. And in all of the attacks, when it came down to it, the voters went with Donald Trump. Why? First and foremost, there's a lot of Democrats out there that know that Hillary Clinton is a liar and she is a deceiver. And her goal was to destroy this country, just like her husband's goal, under the globalist attitude. Bring this nation down so that the rich in this country could rule, or the rich in the world could rule over the world through the UN. And so when she lost to Donald Trump, what happened to the Clinton Foundation? It dried up, didn't it? It no longer exists. People from other countries or governments from other countries are not giving them money because that was pay to play, people. She lost. They could not play in America. That's collusion. She allowed classified information on a private server, and most likely it was hacked, and foreign governments had classified information. We had an individual from Pakistan working as an IT man for our representative from Florida, Debbie Wasserman Schultz. And they would bounce back and forth between Pakistan and the United States. And when he got under investigation, what did she do? She hired his wife. And so the two of them from Pakistan are working as IT people for Debbie Wasserman Schultz, another globalist who is trying to bring down America. Did you hear her at the meeting with the head of the park police? I want my laptop. You can't keep my laptop. I want my laptop. You better give it back to me. You better give it back to me. Threatening the head of the park police when that was taken in conjunction with an investigation. Who does she think she is? She's a globalist. She's trying to create, because look, just go back and look at all of the videos with President Obama and how she props up in each one of them. She's trying to make herself more powerful than what she really is. She's trying to make herself a queen in this country, and it's not working. Even the Democrats were upset with the way she kept flaunting herself around Obama and knew what she was trying to do, and it failed. She's just a lonely senator or House of Representative member out of Florida, and she needs to go. Another globalist. But only she's not as rich and powerful as the others. She tried to get that rich and power by hanging around Obama all the time. And Obama was getting sick and tired of her. And she knew it. She became the head of the DNC. And under the head of the DNC, they were going bankrupt. And she allowed Hillary Clinton to put $20 million in to buy the DNC out of bankruptcy so that she had control of who was hired and who was fired. Okay, think about that. She blew the DNC apart. Hillary Clinton came in and took control of the DNC. And under Hillary Clinton's control, the Debbie Wasserman Schultz helped rig the election in favor of Hillary Clinton. And it came out in the book after everything was over. We know that when the DNC met for their convention, they fired Debbie Wasserman Schultz. But she had to do the opening. She wanted to do the opening of the DNC. And she was booed. She was booed. They knew who she was. They knew the fraud that she was. And they booed her while she sat up there smiling and did it anyway, instead of walking off the stage in shame. This is another globalist. The Clintons are globalists. The Obama family's globalist. The Bushes are globalists. All working with and for who? George Soros, who's a globalist who wants to make a one-world government where the rich, through the UN, control the world. Can't have it, people. Now, for all of you Christians out there, you know a one-world government is coming. And that one-world government that's coming is going to be led by the Antichrist. That's according to Revelation. The Antichrist is just somebody who doesn't care about the people, only cares about money and power. But there's certain things that you need for a globalist community. There's certain things you need for a one-world government. And one of the things you need is a one-world religion. Well, what world religion do you think that's going to be? They're trying to destroy Christianity any way they can. And in destroying Christianity, that's only going to leave two major religions, Judaism and the Muslims, the Islamic faith. And who do you think is going to win? When you open the borders, what are you flooding into all of the countries? Muslims. The Muslims are spreading out. The Muslim is the religion of the one world government, the globalist government. And you see that here in America, where under Obama, he said that he's not anti-religion, so he lets in like 95% Muslims and 5% Christians. But the Christians are the ones getting their heads cut off. The Christians are the ones that are being raped and sodomized by the terrorists. But yet they let in Muslims. I want you to think about that for a bit. And because of that, the Muslim faith is spreading throughout the world. So what do you think the one world religion is going to be? Now, you listen to the current Pope, and he's sitting there saying there's no difference between the Muslim belief and the Catholic belief. In other words, he's trying to combine the two to make it a Muslim Catholicism or Catholicism Muslim. I don't know, but he's trying to say that they're both one and the same, and they're not. They're a far cry from each other because the terrorists do not believe in love, peace, and harmony as Jesus taught in Catholicism. Unity is the big key. Muslims are control, but that's what the one world government wants. They want to control the people, and they want a religion that's going to control the faith. And then you need a one world monetary system. You know what that monetary system most likely will be? Bitcoins. They'll do away with currencies because currencies cost money to make. Think about it. You're paying a guy something like $35 an hour to make $100 bills, $1 bills, $5 bills. And you've got a bunch of people doing that. There's a lot of money spent in order to make money. So the best way to cut down on expenses is not use money at all. And we've been pushing towards that. And again, you Christians understand it. The sign of the beast, the number. And ever since they came up with checking accounts, we have been using a number in our society to buy, trade, or sell. And that went from checking accounts to credit cards to debit cards. And now we have individuals out there that are trying to put chips under their skin in order to pay for bus fares or train fares in order to keep their medical records. There's all sorts of tests going on. And didn't we see that? The mark of the skin? The mark of the beast. And the beast is the computer, ladies and gentlemen. There's going to be a major computer that's going to house all of this under a one world government. And with our own government, thanks to both parties, the Democrats and the Republicans, they're working for government control of the healthcare system. That's socialism. Government control of healthcare is socialism. That's what they're working for. Why? Because they want to have a one world government. The only one who's fighting that is President Donald Trump. So understand that this whole business that you think you're living in a free society, you're being fought for between the Democratic Republic and social communism, between the rich and the poor. And what you need to do for you, Wall Street people, the Wall Street sit-in people and the people out in California that were protesting the corporations and their control, the one percenters, ladies and gentlemen, are not the corporations because they don't keep all of the money they make. They redistribute the money to the stockholders and in giving pay raises and bonuses to the people. It's the government leaders. It is the rich, powerful people who have nothing better to do than spend their money on trying to create a global country, a global world, one world nation, under one economic system, one religious system, one political system. And that political system is socialism. Because most of the people in Europe live under socialism. Most, if not all, of the leaders in the UN live in socialist countries, and they think that's the greatest. Yet they're living here in New York. I love the UN because they're living here in New York, a democratic republic, where they can go out and buy things and do things and go places. They have freedom of movement. Everything is great for them here. It's not back in their home country, but it's great for them here. But they want to turn us into a socialist nation. Think about that. It's absolutely ridiculous. And the Bushes are involved, the Clintons are involved, Obama's involved, and they all talk to who? George Soros. Because the rich hang with the rich. They're the 1%ers you have to be afraid of. Nancy Pelosi is another one. And think about this. We're trying to fund our military. We're trying to fund programs in this country to help the American people. And Nancy Pelosi gets up on the House floor and speaks for 8 hours supporting the DACA people. Now, if you go back just about a month and a half ago, Nancy Pelosi was in agreement with Donald Trump on creating a DACA bill so that we could have a law here in this country protecting the Dreamers. And the Dreamers attacked her for that. Why would you attack people who are trying to create a bill to keep you here? Yet they attacked her. So she turned away from Donald Trump and is sitting there because she's more concerned with her voters voting for her than she is for actually creating a bill. And again, I will say, for 8 years under Obama, and when she was in control of the House, she had the power and the authority to put together a bill to protect Dreamers and did nothing. Did nothing. And when Obama sat there and said, you got 6 months, and they did nothing, and he signed the executive order. You see, they don't care about the common people. She's rich. To her, $1,000 is crumbs. But to somebody who's trying to figure out how to pay rent, $1,000 is a lot of money. So understand, people, the disconnected from our society, the rich in our society, are not the businessmen. It's our government leaders that are out there. And you have to ask this question. If they're working for the government for 30 years, and the most they've ever made is $107,000 a year, because that's what it cost. I think the last pay raise brought it up to 107. Before that, it was 104. Before that, it was about 100. I forget what you have to look it up. But the most they've ever made is $107,000. How does Nancy Pelosi become rich on $107,000 a year? How does Maxine Waters become rich on $107,000 a year? To where Maxine Waters and Nancy Pelosi own multi-million-dollar homes in California. How do they do that? Okay. Are they taking money somewhere? They're the globalist people. They're the ones working for a one world government. And the sad part, the really sad part, is the Black Caucus, Maxine Waters, sitting there attacking this president, because once the one world government is in effect, they're going to be useless. They're not going to have any power or control in this country. It's all going to be taken away from them. And the rich in the world will dominate everybody else. There'll be no government like we have now. There'll be a governor, and he might have something here, but it's not going to be minority groups in there. You want to be part of the government, you might have to go to Africa or Spain or Mexico. And think about this. They're fighting us while allowing the communist countries of Russia and China, the socialist country, I believe it's socialist India, to live just the way they are. Not to change them in any way, shape, or form. Only America. So this globalist movement has been going on for years. The destruction of Christianity has been going on for years. And the reason is because people like George Soros, the Bushes, the Clintons, the Obamas, are all fighting for a one world government, globalism, a one world economic system. We have to stop that, people. We really do. And the only way to do that for Christians is to strengthen your faith in God the Father and strengthen your spirituality, because the power of the Holy Spirit combined by every individual can move a nation. Remember what the Bible tells you, that the faith, as big as a mustard seed, can move a mountain. Do you have faith? Are you strong in your spiritual belief of God the Father? And I don't care if you're a Muslim, a Jew, or a Christian. You're all believing in the same Father. Do you truly believe in Him? Do you truly accept the faith that He gives you, the spiritual ability to make changes? You want to think about that for a while. Listen, this is my ranting and raving. Of course, if you go online, you'll see everything I'm talking about is true. It's out there. All you have to do is research it, study it, get to know it. And the Christians have known this since the beginning of time, since the Catholicism and the writing of the Christian Bible. A one world government is coming, but the one world government will be under the Antichrist. And under the Antichrist, the people will suffer while the rich sit and get rich and bloat with all of the gluttonous food that they'll eat. And look at Hollywood as a prime example of the sexual misconduct that'll go along with the rich. And there are a lot of people who don't like that, don't want it. They're stuck in it if they want to keep the job. So if you don't understand what the 7 rings of hell are all about, read Dante's Inferno. Because Hollywood is showing it, the government is showing it, and the rich are showing it. And that we know where they're going, according to teachings. The one world government is coming, people. The question is, sooner or later? Christians can stand up, fight back, not with arms, fight back with words, fight back in court orders, ordering the atheists to stop attacking them. Sue atheists, sue agnostics, sue the liberals, sue the media because of their constant attack on Christianity. And once they start losing money out of their pockets, then they may start accepting Christianity again. You see, that's what the Jews and the Muslims do. They're not going to put up with this garbage. Only Christians, because the Bible says not to sue your brother. Well, guess what? Sue them. Stop them from attacking you continuously. You want more information? Go to amvoice.net. and leave me comments. Talk to me. You want to know what we can do to change this country, to get it back to a Judeo-Christian nation that allows the faith of all nations, all worlds here to freely practice the religious beliefs? Do you want to know how we can build this country back up from a faith belief? Email me through my website, and I'll be more than delighted to help. And while you're at it, why don't you drop off a donation to help out with that as well? Because the more money that we have, the more that we can work to support the American people and support the Judeo-Christian belief that we have in this country. God bless, take care, and I'll talk to you tomorrow.